Hello, my name is Brad Miller and I'm the School Counseling Director at Perry Meridian High School. And this video is going to explain graduation requirements as well as the specific process students are going to be taking that are in 8th grade to schedule for this year. You probably just watched a video from Mr. Bodeker, our school principal, who welcomed you, and now you're watching this video. During the last week of January, Mr. Klipsch, the assistant AP that will be in charge of the class of 2025, and Mr. Cottingham, one of the school counselors, will be visiting classrooms to do a general overview for graduation requirements, as well as just kind of the rules for high school and things to know and an opportunity for students to ask questions. Typically, this night would be in the auditorium and many families would come, but obviously in these times we're doing things, a lot of videos. So if you could bear with us in this video, and if you have the paper email, or if you've printed that out, the email that you've clicked this video link on will be helpful because I'll kind of process along with that. But first, I'm going to start broad with graduation requirements. Another thing is if you lose this email, you can always go to our website. I'm going to be posting this all on our website, which is perryschools.org. You click Perry Meridian High School, and then you can click for students, counseling, and scheduling. And there'll be a page with that with some of the links that we talked about today. The curriculum guide, which has all of the details in here. So for you people that like every detail, you're going to like the curriculum guide. Otherwise, if you watch this video, for the most part, you can get the gist of what we're trying to accomplish. Or if you read through the email that was sent, that gives the high point details of what we're trying to accomplish as well. So, how do you graduate? This would really apply to anybody in the state of Indiana. For the class of 2025, they need to complete 3 things. I like to break those down into 3 boxes. Box number 1, they have to earn a diploma. Box number 2, they have to meet the employability skills requirement. And box number 3, there's a post-secondary ready competencies thing that they need to accomplish. And we'll go through all those in detail right now. So box number 1, the diploma. Students can earn a Core 40 with technical honors, and Core 40 with academic honors diploma. Just so we're all under the same understanding, a credit. 1 credit is awarded for each class you pass with a D- or higher for each semester. So students can take 7 classes per semester, so they could earn up to 7 classes per semester for a total of 14 during the course of a school year. Required classes are classes that you have to take, so you have to take certain English, math, and science and so forth classes in order to graduate. And then elective classes would fill out the rest of your schedule. So someone might choose band, other people don't like music, so they might choose an art class. Somebody else might choose to be in the Project Lead the Way program or go to Central 9 later, etc. So if we look at this chart breaks it down kind of in a broad way. You'll notice the Core 40, the Core 40 with technical honors, and the Core 40 with academic honors. So if we look across the column, you need English all 4 years, which would mean you would need 8 credits of English. So freshman year, you would take English 9A, you'd earn 1 credit. In second semester, you would take English 9B, you'd earn 1 credit. So you would have earned 2 credits in English 9 freshman year, and then continue that through the grade levels. In the math world, 3 years minimum is required. You'll notice if you're getting the academic honors diploma, you would be able to, or you'd be able to have to take a 4th year of math. So minimum for math is Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2. In science, 3 years is required for all diplomas. Everybody starts with biology, and then you move to a chemistry or an ICP or a science of that nature. And then the third option is kind of your choice, depending on what route you want to take and what your interest is. In social studies, you need 3 years. So freshmen will take, or sophomores will take geography, history, or world history, and we'll look at that on a slide in a bit. Everyone has to take 3 credits of PE1, PE2, and health. Those are all equal to 1 credit. PE1 and health are 9th grade classes. PE2 would be a sophomore class. World language, or the foreign languages, they're not required unless you're getting an academic honors diploma. If you're a strong Core 40 student and you're planning to go to a 4-year college or university and you may or may not get your honors diploma, colleges still want you to have 2 years of a foreign language. Some students in 9th grade will start out in a language. Others will probably wait until 10th grade so they get a stronger foothold on their transition to high school. And then fine arts credit is required for the academic honors diploma, and that would be 2 credits. If a student was in band for 1 year, they would have earned 2 credits and they meet the requirement. If they take piano class for 1 semester and if they take 2-dimensional art for another semester, that could meet the requirement. We also have a theater arts class and an advanced acting class and things of that nature for the music and arts area. If you look at the bottom, 40 credits total. 40 credits total for the Core 40. If you get the specialized diplomas, 47 credits is required. So we basically say a student's on track if they're earning 10 credits per year so that they're done in 4 years. And just as a side note, if you've had older children that have graduated from Perry Meridian or any other Indiana high school, the class of 2023, so current sophomores on below, no longer have that I-STEP requirement. Students also have to take a quantitative reasoning course their senior year or a math course. You don't need to worry about this slide too much, but these are some of the courses up there. This document is in a little bit more detail about what's expected. This can also be found in the curriculum guide, and you can go back and look at that, which is posted online through our website. All right, so box number 1, we earned 40 credits or more. We've passed all of our required classes, and we're getting the designation of a diploma of the Core 40, Academic Honors, or the Technical Honors Diploma. So check for box 1. Now we move to box number 2, learn and demonstrate employability skills. So if you work at any point during high school, we'll have a form that you complete, and that can mean employability skill box has been met. So if you work at McDonald's for 4 months your sophomore year, that could meet the requirement. If you're an athlete and participate in a sport for at least 1 season, that could meet the requirement, and we have a form that you'll complete for that. Or if you're actively involved in an extracurricular for 1 school year, that would meet the requirement. We've also embedded in our U.S. government class, which is required for all seniors, something called mock Congress. And if students go through and submit their bill and complete certain tasks with that, that could do it as well. The state has also identified some classes that would qualify for that. So there's the Computer Integrated Manufacturing, Computer Science, Digital Electronics, AP Capstone. All of those courses would meet the employability skills requirement if you took those and those were on your transcript. And finally, if none of those work, you would be assigned a special project determined your senior year that you would be working with a master teacher and possibly AP to complete. So if you do one of those things out of box 2, check, box 2 is taken care of. And finally, box 3 is post-secondary ready competencies. So it's kind of like, what in the world does that mean? So after high school, are students ready to move on to the next step? And as you can see, these different qualifications would allow students to move to different areas of employment, college, military, or so forth. So you have to complete one of these that I'm talking through for box 3, just to clarify. If a student receives the honors diploma, check, they've met box 3, because their post-secondary plans, in most cases, not in all, would mean that they would be ready for the next step if they're applying for college and so forth. But remember, you need 47 credits for that. You need a GPA of a B average or higher. All of your core classes have to be a C minus or higher. And you have to complete a combination of dual credit and or AP classes. If you don't get the academic honors diploma, then maybe you'll get the technical honors diploma. Notice the 47 credits, the B average, the C minus in your core classes, same as everything I said in the last slide, but you must attend Central 9 and meet certain requirements there. Central 9 is our career center with great opportunities, and students that go there generally go for 2 years. There's a lot of dual credit opportunities there and a lot of advancement on hands-on skills and technical skills. If you don't get your honors diploma or your technical honors diploma, if you get a certain score on the ACT, which is a standardized test, which many students take their junior or senior year, that could qualify you. A certain score on the standardized test called the SAT could also allow you to meet the requirement for box number 3. The ASVAB is something else. It's a standardized test. It's actually used with the armed services. You do not have to plan to go to the military to get a 31 or higher on that exam. But if you take that test and get a 31 or higher, you would be eligible to meet box 3 requirement. If you get an industry certification, there are a few programs out there in Central 9 that this can happen with. They're pretty limited. If you complete a CTE concentrator, Perkins 5 new documentation came out about the middle of November that is going to tweak this slightly. And so as I go to some meetings, the students will have some additional information about what that's going to look like as far as sequence of classes that would need to be taken for this concentrator. If you take at least 3 AP or dual credit classes and get a C minus or higher, you could earn your box 3 requirement. AP it stands for advanced placement. Those are basically high school or college level classes taught at the high school. Students take an exam in May, and if you get a certain score on the exam, that can allow you to possibly earn college credit or skip some introductory college classes. DC stands for dual credit. We have some dual credit courses, and of course, anybody in the early college program is taking lots of dual credit courses through VU. So that should allow students to get that requirement met quite easily. We also have some locally created pathways that have been approved. The state overall has only approved 3 pathways. We have requested to be included in that in our fine arts, civics arts pathway. So if a student is in the music or art program and sequences through a number of classes, that could allow the student to complete box number 3. So let's take a look at band. Obviously, not everybody plays band, but hopefully this will give you an idea about what we're talking about. Remember, these are post-secondary ready competencies. So let's say I'm really into band, and I theoretically, maybe I become a musician. If I became a musician, having an intro to business class could be beneficial as I kind of learn to set up things. Or possibly if I'm interested in band, I could become a teacher and teach music at a school or university or so forth. And so if you don't take Introduction to Business, we have Education Professions, which we offer students in their 11th and 12th grade year, where they actually kind of pair along at a school, help a teacher, and those are obviously for prospective educators. You don't obviously have to be in band for that, but this is just the example for band. And then as long as you proceed through the advanced level of that music area or the acting area, that would allow you for the requirement to be met for box 3. Excuse me. In the art world, We've got a very similar thing. Again, you could go into business for yourself, or you could possibly work for a company in the arts world, or possibly teach art. Notice here you need to get to the AP level of that. So as long as you get to the AP level, you may not take every single class here, but as long as you advance to those higher levels, then that would meet the requirement for box 3. So as a reminder, box 1, I need to get a diploma through earning credits, and I have to get a Core 40 technical honors or academic honors diploma. Box number 2, employability skills. That's if I work, if I do an extracurricular, if I'm on a sport, or if I take a certain class or do an extra project there at the end. And then finally, the post-secondary ready competencies. I know I went through those fairly quickly. There's lots on there and lots of opportunities. Getting an honors diploma, going to Central 9 could generally meet that. Being in early college generally meets that, or taking those core sequence of classes in the locally created pathways is also another way to meet that requirement. So the question on your mind really is, how's the scheduling process going to work for my 8th grader? Number 1, required classes have already been scheduled in Skyward for your child, and we'll look at those in a minute. Number 2, elective options are plentiful. Number 3, review your email and talk with your child about elective options. That's kind of the key part here. And number 4, the counselors will be returning on February 8th that week and meet with the students for them to choose their elective options and get those requests into Skyward, which is your student data management system. So as I walk through these slides, they kind of coincide with the headings that we have on the letter that you're looking at right now, probably, or the email, I should say. Some of you have probably printed it out, but this kind of allows you to kind of see what we're talking about and kind of walk you through those pieces since we're not there. So the main thing you need to remember is there's 14 spots for somebody's schedule. We've preloaded some classes. So there are actually some students who have 14 courses already on the schedule. Their schedule is basically done. Now, there'll be some with as few as 9 options on there. If you're in early college, you'll probably have at least 10 on there. If you're moving on to a world language, you might have 12. So some of the classes or schedules are quite full already. We recommend that 9th graders take 6 classes per semester and 1 study hall per semester for the 7 spots. Remember, there's 14 total, 7 for semester 1, 7 for semester 2. Not all students have to take a study hall. We used to mandate that, but we don't anymore. So if you feel your child needs that time built in for some assistance and support and help, then that could be an option. But it just kind of depends on the student. So take a minute to log into Skyward if you want to. If you're like overwhelmed with all these screens and things we're talking about, then you can certainly do this after the video. Your 8th grader knows how to log into Skyward. Once they log in, which is the student data management system, that's where parents can see grades and attendance and behavior and things of that nature. So on the child's page or student's page, on the left-hand side, there are a number of choices. You're going to click on Schedule, and then you're going to click on View Requests for 2021, 2022 in Perry Meridian High School. And then your requests will be coming up. If you don't want to do that right now, not a big deal. So right now on the document I'm looking at, it says required classes already scheduled in Skyward, and it says 1 and 2 English. So what we mean by that is there are some different choices. We use many, many data points to place students specifically in their English and science courses. We use data points as far back as 5th grade through this year, evaluate. We look at RI scores, which is a reading inventory. We look at iStep, iLearn. Obviously, last spring they didn't take a test. We got all these data points gathered together, and then we had the 8th grade core teachers review those to see if the placements looked correct. We knew this year was a bit of an anomaly because of the interruption in schooling, so that's why we wanted input from the teachers more specifically. And so students are placed in one of these options. There's really only, I would say, 3 options. There's a double block option, and based on your skill level, you're either in this EN 911P or you're in the EN 811P. The majority of students are in the English 9. If you've chosen to be in the early college program, then you would be in a cohorted section of early college, which has a slightly different code of the EN 55. That's the semester 1 code, right? And then there's the semester 2 code for early college. And then we have the English 9 pre-AP, which is covered up by that nice band. There it goes, which is the EN 13 and EN 14. So those are the options. And in Skyward, one of those courses is listed. Students, again, in early college would be cohorted in the EN 55-56. If they are working at a higher level and are in the pre-AP, that's okay as well. So they might be in the EN 13 and 14 as well. So those are the options for English. We've really simplified it from years past. And if you have no idea what I'm saying when I say early college, there is a link on the document that you have that says early college application. If you'd like to click on that and try and apply to that, Mr. Maurer will reach out to you once you complete that application to see if you've been accepted. So English, 4 years, 8 credits total. You'll get 2 credits in 9th grade, and these are your choices. Math, 3 years minimum, 6 credits total. Many of you, or most of you, are probably going to be in algebra. Students that struggle the most in algebra will be double blocked in algebra. So that's been a support we put in this year, which we feel like has been extremely helpful. So you'll have that for 2 periods out of your 7 period or 7 block day. That's an option there. Algebra 1 is the other option. And then if students are in credits in middle school, they're probably moving on to geometry or possibly algebra 2. One note on that, basically when we looked at the data points just a few weeks ago, if students had Bs or higher, we moved them to the next level. If they had anything lower than a B, we recommended that they retake the current class. I have 2 students in high school, and I've had my kids retake. I would rather have the students have a solid background in those courses and repeat it so that when they move on to the higher levels in math, they're not drowning. Sometimes we find that we push too hard too fast. And when students move from Algebra 2, well, there are some that struggle, to be honest with you, pre-calculus or calculus, when they're taking those their sophomore or junior year, that might be a lot. And so I just want to caution you that it's okay to repeat a class. If you have no credits from middle school for high school, right? So if you come over with no credits, you're still allowed to get an academic honors diploma. You'll still be able to get into a good college, and you'll still be able to be successful. So that's my soapbox there. Science, 3 years, 6 credits minimum. Biology is the option. If you're in the early college, you have that course. And then biology honors. Just as a side note, just because a student is in the English pre-AP, they will not necessarily be in the honors bio because, of course, that skill set's a little bit different about what stands out for that. Physical education is required. This is the hot topic or the question I get the most about, I feel like, on the scheduling night. PE 1 and health are required. Those are freshman courses, and those are currently scheduled in your class. And on that document, you can see that it's the box 7 and 8. They're 1 semester courses. So some students, depending on how they line up, might have PE and health first semester or second, or they might have health first semester and PE second, and so forth. These are the only 2 courses that students moving from 8th to 9th grade are allowed to take in summer school. Our summer school is through the Indiana Online Academy. We've partnered with them for many years. Typically, there's no cost to the families. If there is a cost, it's either $50 or under. Information about that will be sent out from the middle school counselor, probably Miss Dieter, and there'll be a link for signups for that course. If you sign up for summer school and you want 2 spots in your schedule, you need to make sure that you have 2 spots. So you have to sign up for the PE1 and the health. You just don't sign up for one course and they equal 2. Sometimes we have confusion on that. Okay, so hopefully that answers that. Many students don't choose to do summer school. It's not an expectation. It's not required. You don't have to, but that is an option there. All right, requirements for grade 9. So this is basically on lines 9 and 10 on that document that you have. So non-early college students, 2 years ago, we were requiring that all students take Preparing for College and Careers. It's 1 semester. It'll either be first or second semester. We do a lot of personal assessments in there through Naviance, if you have heard about that. We also talk again about graduation requirements. We really have them settle on their 4-year plan. We have guest speaker there from Central 9 or Career Center, and we really talk through a lot of pieces for preparation for life in that course. If you're not in, if you are in early college, the only difference is that you'll take study skills, which really mimics the PCC class in some portions, not all portions. And then the DAR is the digital applications and responsibilities. So again, if you're in early college, you'll have 2 things on there for the study skills and the DAR. If you're not in early college, you'll have just the PCC there. So that means you would get to have another 1 semester elective choice. If anybody is an English learner, so if they're new to the English language, if you take the WIDA test, you may or may not be familiar with that. If you have a 3.5 or lower on that, we place you in an EL course corresponding to the score on your test. So that would be automatically populated into your schedule. So that only accounts for some of the students here, of course. World language. World language classes, we have a section about that have some different things about placement from the middle school, especially if a student was taking a foreign language in the middle school. And then in the high school, we have 3 languages, Spanish, French, and German. If you're a native Spanish speaker, we began a track of language for heritage speakers. And that's basically starting out at a level 3 language and moving a little bit further and a little bit faster than your counterparts. So those would be your choices. This is only required if you're getting an academic honors diploma. Use caution if you are worried about your transition to high school, or if you don't have strong English skills and haven't done well in the English reading language arts courses in 7th and 8th grade. You can wait and take this in 10th grade. It's okay. And so if you're doing well and have done well, you can certainly add this in 9th grade if you haven't taken it in the middle school. Remember, for the honors diploma, you need a 3-year sequence, Spanish 1, 2, and 3, or whatever other language, to get the honors diploma. If you're struggling, you could do 2 years of Spanish and 2 years of German, or 2 years of any of those combinations of languages to meet the requirement for the honors diploma. Social studies. All right, that box there, we've basically got 3 choices. And students generally take this either in 9th or 10th grade. The requirement for U.S. history is for most students in, in 11th grade, and then their senior year requirement is 1 semester of government and 1 semester of economics. So you have to take one of these at some point during high school. Most students take it in 9th grade. There are some that take it in 10th, and there are a few random students that take that throughout, depending on what their other course load looks like. We do ask that the AP World History, since that is our only AP course that we allow students to take as freshmen, that there's a link on that document that parents complete to say, yes, I know it's hard. There's a link to kind of talk a little bit more about the curriculum to give you more information and insights into that. And if you submit that form, then that student would be eligible to take that class. If you don't submit the form, then that student would be moved back to the SO 7071. All of those are fine classes. They all meet the requirements for any of the diploma types, though. Music electives, a lot of that is driven based on the student's middle school experience. And when we say beginning band, choir, or orchestra, we don't mean beginning as I've never played a trombone and don't even know how to put it together. That's how we sequence the classes at the high school. So we're not trying to insult anybody about what they do or don't know in the music world. That is kind of how the IDOE indicates that we schedule students. There'll occasionally be students that are placed a little bit higher than that, and I believe the middle school music teacher will help you work through that. And then we always work through the list to make sure that the students are placed correctly as well. The one thing that you don't have to have prior experience is choir, but you do have to have a desire to sing, obviously. So again, we're in the elective section. Many of you are like, I don't like music, or I don't want to take music. That's okay. All of these things that we talk about now, I'm just kind of following along with our sheet. The next section we have listed is the art department. This is a diagram about the different tracks and kind of worlds we see in the art. So a level 1 class you're allowed to take, and the options are 2-dimensional art, 3-dimensional art, visual communications, and drawing. So you could choose those. Those are all 1 semester classes. They would take up 1 line out of the 14 in your scheduling process. Business courses are an option as well. And we've got Intro to Business, Intro to Computer Science, Digital Applications and Responsibilities. That's 2 semesters for 2 lines. And then Personal Financial Responsibility is 1 semester. Descriptions of those are in the document that you have as well. We have a couple of, my slide is not moving. We have a couple of options in the English department for electives for freshmen, theater arts. If you're into drama and acting, that's a 1 semester course you could take. And journalism is 2 semesters. That would be somebody who's probably interested in becoming part of the newspaper staff. The newspaper advisor teaches that class as well. Family and consumer science would be a combination of courses you could take if you're interested in those areas. Those are all 1 semester courses and would be 1 spot on your schedule. And then Project Lead the Way. Project Lead the Way is basically a sequence of classes for students that are interested in the field of engineering. There's a lot of neat things students do in that classroom. We're really excited about some of the changes we've made recently. Students that take IED can take that as freshmen. They're using Inventor, Excel, CAD. They do some statistics, kind of some design and things of that nature, and then that allows them to move through some additional courses. All right. I've said a lot of stuff. So take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. Every year we get a bunch of 8th graders coming over, and it gets really exciting. I was fortunate enough to have my daughter graduate in the class of 2020. Even though it was the pandemic, it was still exciting to have a student go through Perry. I currently have a student that's a sophomore, and so it's going to be all right. Obviously, teenagers are exciting and fun to raise, but trying to guide them in this process for classes I know can be overwhelming, but it's a process I think that works. We've really tweaked it over the years to try and make more sense of it. In fact, I think this year we've made it more streamlined than ever. And so on that document, if you look over your information, then and you have strong opinions that something is not placed right for the core classes, You can click on that appeal form and indicate that in your writing. You also could reach out to Miss Dieter or the other 8th grade counselor that's listed on there, as well as myself for questions. So today, basically, you've had a chance to watch the video. Hopefully you'll look at the email document for some elective choices. The counselors are going to come into the middle school with the high school and middle school counselors going to work together to make sure that the students have rounded out their 14 options. One thing that I did not put on the slide that I want to mention is that students are allowed to take study halls. The study hall code is ZZ30P and ZZ31P, and I think I'll add that to the document that you will be receiving here in a little bit. So thank you so much. We're sorry we could not do this in person, and we're really excited for the next steps.